we see Irelia going to the mid lane, Hecarim going to the top lane, Sejuani most likely set to go to the jungle. All right, confirmed.
Yeah, I like that because as soon as the Nautilus is locked in, you're like, okay, if he goes any form of AP, he's not going to be that tanky early on in the game, right? And all of a sudden, the full AD stack doesn't make all that much of a difference if you're looking at Isurus Gaming's lineup, just because they haven't got the hardcore, pure tank that's going to come out instantly. I also think that they should have some good pressure coming out of this mid lane. And you gotta wait to think.
Yeah, let's talk a little bit about mid jungle right now, because this is terrifying, because whichever one gets the edge in the 2v2, it feels like the lane instantly ends, because the synergy between Sejuani and Irelia is crazy.
But the thing is...
But Nautilus, Taliyah is also insane. The Nautilus hook pulls them through the field. I mean, there's so much setup CC in any Nautilus lane.
But you're so immobile, and you gotta stand in the middle of the creep wave to clear the creep wave. I feel like you're begging to be ganked by the Sejuani if that's how you want to play the lane.
You spider not your way out, man. You just hook the wall, you walk away. It's fine.
Yeah.
We're gonna find out. This is the first Nautilus mid that we've seen on a competitive stage in a long time. Ever? Maybe I'm gonna say in a long time.
No, Doinby plays it, like, so I'll get out in front of it. You know, Doinby has played crazy things like Nautilus mid. Banner of Command, Nautilus mid was also very impressive for the longest time. Thank goodness that item is no longer in League of Legends. But an exciting comp put together for both teams, nonetheless. I do favor Isurus Gaming's lineup. I just want that to be on record, Drakos. But see whether Fenerbahçe can pull something out here.
And interesting to see what they drafted for Hades. Hades was a bit of a, a liability in their games in the final. Of course, going up against Sight Knight and Wolf was an incredible bottom lane. We're going to have to see how he does against Warangelus and Slow, of course, legends in the LLA. It is Fenerbahçe eSports on the blue side, Isurus Gaming on the red, ladies and gentlemen, as we enter our second game of the day. And Dark Harvest Taliyah.
One thing I will say is that the level 1 top side of the map for Fenerbahçe, it's terrifying. You do not want to contest that top side of the map. You've got Nautilus passive, plus probably Hook, maybe spam E. Then you got the damage that comes out of both Ruin and Kirei. I like this. Just slow it down, play a little bit passive, and I think that if Isurus have this way, this is going to be an incredibly standard, slow game that they can play towards that 1-3-1 threat.
And a certain degree of predictability coming in from Fenerbahçe. Of course, the Nautilus is new, it's special, it's something different, but see Kirei sticking to the expected champion pool. One of the first and the second are banned, he goes to the third. Now his 4th game on Taliyah this year. Maybe that will count against them, but I'm just... After last game, I feel like I don't want to have any deep discussion, Spawn, because I'm concerned that someone will die at any moment.
And I think this is like real strange, right? Because they got a Galio heading up here as well. They're obviously convinced an invade is coming. And I'm not so sure, because right now you can see Kirei is on the bottom side of the Summoner's Rift.
The Ward still stepping forward, though. Knows that there are no dashes here. Knows that he can just sit on the edge of his range and he's fine.
Slow, you need to go bottom lane. Well, at least I think that's where he's laning.
Wait. All right. I think in yeah. If I'm correct here, Spawn, in Australia you call this a walkabout. He's going on a walkabout. He's having a good time. Now, if Warangelus has been able to catch all the CS thus far, we'll get a little bit of solo XP, so a fast level 2, but it does feel like a big sacrifice. And Seiya getting absolutely smacked in the level 1 trade here by the Nautilus. Of course, the Nautilus W is so incredibly strong. It's a damage steroid, it's a massive shield. If you cannot break the shield, you're going to take so much in the exchange, but not something that I'm used to seeing.
Yeah, certainly isn't. And a bit of a strange path coming out here from Oddie. Sticking towards the top side full clear. You can see Kirei matching it. Hop in on the bottom lane.
He's with 4th. Braum now going to step forward 2-3. Nope, going to instead turn to Warangelus, try to extend the trade, but a positive trade in the favor of Fenerbahçe, using the XP advantage that they have currently.
And Drakos, experience is one of the most important things early on in the game, and the fact that Slow went on that walkabout you talked about, not able to pick up level 2 and just gets jumped on.
And I think we have to give them the benefit of the doubt that there must have been something scrimming, prepping, leading towards this tournament, that they expected a late invade there, that they expected more members to show up and contest with this Taliyah, but at the end of the day, that kind of aggressive movement and maneuver does cost a lot.
False sense of security here, Ruin in trouble.
Buggax now stepping forward, the flash in, good use of the Q flash. Ruin now trying to flash out. Hammer form available. Kirei, though, that's going to be a lot of damage coming up from Taliyah. Buggax may have overstayed his welcome. Dark Harvest now going to proc, getting lower and lower. First blood dropping for Fenerbahçe. Ruin playing that one nice and slow.
Yeah, it certainly was, and I think this is why there's a lot of excitement around this guy. You know, pretty calm as well, I would have to say, on the first gank. As soon as Oddie was no longer a factor in that, not able to apply the red buff continually, Buggax was just never going to catch him. This is an Ignite Teleport Hecarim, which means he has no mobility. So let's check out how this starts, right? Good flash to kick it off. However, no instant proc of the stun. You can see that Ruin just able to kite him out, plays it nice and slow, and able to pick up the kill for himself.
And just the amount of damage between these two champions right now is so incredibly high. And when you look at this team, we talked about Kirei already, we have to talk about Ruin as well, because these guys are the double threat that carried this team through the playoffs. And Buggax goes in to proc the Conqueror, but Ruin just doing so much damage with East rotation of his cooldowns.
And whilst Buggax got a couple of cheeky ones in on the back end of that trade, still certainly a negative trade. And when you're against a Jayce that has full control of the minion wave like this, you know, he's always hitting, especially given the fact that he's got Doran's Blade. He's going to be able to lifesteal up. And then you're just sitting underneath the turret as Buggax, like a sitting duck, legitimately just waiting to be dove. And you can see that mid lane right now, Fenerbahçe have complete control of that lane as well. So it just gets scarier and scarier. You know, when Kirei is able to go this deep into the enemy jungle, and you're getting shoved in, waves built against you time and time again, it just is terrifying to play the game.
And when Kirei is in an even game, you can see him farm, but when he smells blood in the water, this man is not afraid to go for the big plays. Does not connect on the seismic shove there, so nothing's going to come through, but already putting down so much pressure. And Oddie wants to move up, but there's a mid laner there too, and it just feels like with the amount of pressure they're exerting on the map, Fenerbahçe are at a constant man advantage in so many of these exchanges.
And that is just two creep waves slowly dying to the turret. You can see Ruin so comfortable with the vision his team's provided him, being able to take away all options. Bottom lane, some more action.
Three gonna flash forward, trying to extend the trade. Now, leaping out of the way though, Hades has to pull back. Warangelus not quite able to grab it. Japone has to flash to safety. Hades still with the heal available. They opt not to extend the play. It's going to be flash. 3 summoners traded for 2, favorable for Isurus in the end.
But once again, this feels like another one of those games where, you know, top lane's an absolute train wreck if you're Isurus Gaming, and bottom lane, like, yeah, you want to trade. Like, you got an additional summoner spell? Well, they took 2.5 turret plates top lane, guys. We kind of need to get some more out of our bully lane than that.
And thank you, Observers, for highlighting the gold difference there. Yeah, that's massive. That's a serrated Dirk, 2 extra daggers. Buggax gonna rush Tabby. It's gonna be... Oh! Oh, get him! I take it back. Warangelus for president. He's bringing the game back.
That's actually really important because there's a lot of experience and farm sitting on that turret. So the fact that he was able to pick up the snipe there, heal was still available, and Hades obviously just didn't think it was going to kill him. This is a lane that I think now will have so much impact on the map, however, because Seiya gets towards his Tiamat. Hold that thought.
Seiya gonna get locked up. Jayce, you see the flash forward. Seiya trying to make it out to safety, trying to turn this play immediately. He's going to ult. Now the follow-up is here from Oddie as well. Bolulu in trouble. The stun's going to come through. They're gonna turn this one beautifully. Well played by Seiya and Oddie. It looked like a death sentence, but they managed to make it out.
So damn aggressive from the mid laner of Isurus Gaming, just able to turn the gank instantly. And that's what I was gonna say. If he can get mid lane priority, all of a sudden the turret dives that were under threat for Buggax no longer available. We've seen Isurus Gaming lean heavily on their mid laner, almost to a crux point. And you know, the fact that Oddie is playing this Sejuani just gives him so much more area to outplay. You saw how quickly they applied that Sejuani passive.
And a good look overall to confidently, in a tough scenario, turn it around in an instant. And level 6 coming through for Oddie is huge as well, because the Sejuani ult is now up and available. And take a look at how this plays out.
And it looks like it's going to be a perfect gank. And all of a sudden, if you're Kirei, you start doubting whether you can look for these plays. You see the passive stacking up there on Bolulu, and Slow was also rotating towards the play. They obviously had a very good idea of where this was going to come from. And impressive from Seiya, to say the least.
And Taliyah's just that champion where you want to keep everyone kind of at arm's length, and when you're not able to land that combo, when you aren't able to land multiple threaded volleys, you just can't get anything. And we go from Bolulu looking very comfortable, very confident in this lane, but now Irelia with the Tiamat, able to match some of that push pressure, and Seiya and Oddie starting to come online. This is a good sign, because top lane still has to be very scared. Buggax going to be in trouble here. Knockback is going to come out. Kirei is right there, not giving him a lot of options. He's going to dash to safety, wants to make it out. Wall coming in. Kirei not going to follow, though. Buggax is going to make it out to safety, but has to give a lot up in exchange on the play.
And you can see that Buggax is just right now trying to lose as little as possible. So you see, going to be an Infernal Dragon traded from Isurus Gaming, but I love the pressure coming out from Ruin. We said that he can play weak side. Well, he's showing right now a very good strong side performance. Is potentially going to take another plate and a half off that top lane turret. And this is starting to become a pretty devastating top lane discrepancy.
And you start to see why so many teams banned Jayce against 1907 Fenerbahçe in the regular season and in the playoffs, because Ruin can be terrifying. He can be this, you know, top lane carry threat. And Jayce is one of those champions where the theoretical output is so high, but we rarely see players convert on it unless they are the best of the best when it comes to Jayce. But in this game, Ruin definitely asserting his dominance.
Pressure bot.
He's going to come in, not going to have the chance to amp up, but the chain CC is flawless. Rocket jump, not going to save him. Hades taken out once again. Isurus finding a weak point and just pressuring.
Yeah, Isurus Gaming throwing everything, including the kitchen sink. You say flawless chain CC. I say probably, you know, if you look at how they overlap, couple hit at the same time potentially.
Way too much WoW Arena, just give me the credit.
But at the same time, you see more pressure being exerted bottom lane. So all of a sudden, it's like 1 versus 2 lanes winning.
Turning back slow, needs to be careful here. One more auto is going to stun him up. Kirei trying to find something, but the creep wave is there to block, and Warangelus is just unconcerned. Now out of mana, though. Buggax needs to be careful. Ruin has a Youmu's, is just going to move in. He's gonna, oh no. Empowered auto, going to do it in the end. Ruin absolutely cleaning up in the 1v1.
Certainly is, and he's like, can I catch him without burning the flash? In the end, just expends the summoner spell, Drakos. But this is a decimation from Ruin. He can nearly take that turret. It's going to have to be a second teleport burn up here. 2 levels already ahead. Like, Buggax is the same level as Oddie. This is not a good situation to be in as a top laner. Not to mention all of the items stacking right now in the Jayce's favor. It's not going to get any easier. I don't think even Jayce falls off as bad as people makes out. This is just going to be a nightmare to play if you are the Hecarim.
Low on mana. Seiya taking a lot of immediate damage. Ulti is going to come in. Galio now coming. They're trying to turn it to follow up. There's the CC comes through. Seiya going to grab the kill instantly. Nautilus a little bit too confident there. Felt very comfortable when the Aftershock was up, but the second it fell off, he just got deleted.
And in back-to-back games, we've seen top lane swing heavily in one team's favor. Hold that thought, because Buggax thinks he can get a play.
Kirei. Buggax now needs to run. Of course, does have the ultimate available. Oh no, I don't even know. He's going to try to use it. Unstoppable. Ruin going to swarm swap here in a second. The sidestep, not enough. Ruin now on a killing spree, and this is brutal. Hecarim is not a champion that scales gracefully, Spawn. This is a champion that when it is put down, it does so little. And Jayce is not the kind of champion that gives you time to scale either.
And at a certain point, you know, you stop losing gracefully as well. And this is starting to turn into a massacre on the top side of the map. I mean, that's kind of inexcusable play from Buggax. He sees the TP come through into the mid lane. He should be able to count out the amount of time it's going to take. He should know that he can't get that plating. Instead, gets greedy for it, thinks I have to gamble to get myself back in the lane. I was actually going to compliment Isurus Gaming, because I was going to say, even though top lane is a disaster zone, you know, mid lane, certainly going in the Irelia's favor. You can see bottom lane also starting to swing back pretty heavily, to be honest. So I think that, you know, that death there kind of is inexcusable. But at a certain point, you have to kind of say, all right, I'm a pure tank Hecarim. I'm going to allow my team to provide the damage. I'm going to be a frontline. It's just constantly dying over and over again.
And it's an interesting point because top lane is so incredibly strong right now for Fenerbahçe. Ruin is above and beyond. This is the domination from a Jayce that people dream about when you pick this champion. On the other side, though, mid lane, everyone else on the Isurus Gaming lineup, where top is being put into a dumpster, no doubt. This man is being obliterated. The rest of the map is actually making very good plays, is capitalizing on their advantages. 2 kills in the bot lane. The Nautilus has been taken out, and so while gold is probably going to be pretty even, Fenerbahçe, all that gold is on the top side of the map. Everywhere else is spread so evenly for Isurus.
So now it becomes down to execution, right? So if you're Fenerbahçe, you're just like, let Ruin take every turret on the map. You know, we're going to take top lane turret eventually. He's going to swing bottom lane. They're going to swap because they're going to want to continue to have their strong point against the weak point. We just keep taking down turrets, and we're going to have more access to turrets because our split pusher is a person in such a commanding lead. At the same time, if you're Isurus Gaming, this is where you start thinking, you know, where do we force? What objectives are coming up? Is there a Drake that we can have a look at? But, I mean, he has no chance of getting out at this stage. It's already done. As soon as he takes those, you know, 3 or 4 cheeky swings at the turret, he's going to fall down just because of the speed of Ruin and Kirei and the consistent damage they're able to bring.
You see Ruin on the screen, very calm, very composed, very collected. And the gold slightly in favor of Isurus, all things considered. Once again, Jayce can still kill anyone in a 1v1, but the gold much more evenly spread on the side of Isurus, and you have to wonder if Isurus start to force for these bigger objectives to try to get things in their favor, because they do have enough immediate CC that if Jayce is ever caught out, that that even gold suddenly turns into a very Isurus favored fight if they can just take the Jayce out of the equation.
Yeah, absolutely, and I think they do have the tools to be able to do it, right? They've got the Sejuani ult. It's going to be hugely impactful in these team fights. And then they've got an Irelia who has been able to get it accelerated and will be devastating at this stage of the game. Going for a very, I guess, sensible build given jungle mid duo, but will mean that probably can't side lane versus Ruin in the next couple of minutes, going for that wit's end build.
Of course, once completed, we'll offer a little bit of sustain as well with the changes that came through. So let him very comfortably just remain in mid lane, but will not help him fight the juggernaut on the enemy team that is Ruin. And Ruin will now break the top lane tower, and this is where we could see the pace of the game start to change. Spawn. Will Fenerbahçe, with his advantage, start to open up the map, start to rotate him around, or will they let him just continue to dominate Buggax in this 1v1?
And the fact that Buggax's mistakes kind of snowballed and compounded into that Herald as well means that now potentially Seiya is going to start paying for it. Or maybe they just take a bottom lane and try and extend Ruin's lead, you know, in that area. They're actually sending him back top, which is quite interesting. You know, Ocean Drake coming up next, potentially want to look to fight for that, so they're just going to send him up there, try and push out as far as he can, rotate down through the jungle. But you can see pretty good control of the bottom side of the map coming out from Isurus Gaming, and you know, always that threat of a dive coming in when you have slow there with the flash taunt available, as well as Oddie's ultimate still up.
Always have to be careful though. Kirei moves to the top side, they have the Herald available, they can start to break multiple towers. Kirei is opting to back off. Seiya just playing forward in this matchup. Cannot look for the dive, I think, on his own at this stage. Protobelt on the way for the Nautilus will be a nice spike in damage, potentially help this matchup, but Warangelus and slow. With all the members they have on the bottom side, free to step up, free to threaten here, free to take at least that one tower plate.
You can see Kirei now hovering that bottom side. At the same time, even though equal numbers top side of the map, Ruin just has a field day. He's 40 CS up, you know, pretty much a full item ahead. He's a 9.5 ahead, in fact. However,
Knockup. Top lane is now coming down. Oddie's here as well. They're going to need to find an instant kill. They have to be careful, and Power Shock Blast connecting on Seiya means that fight is over. They need to back away. Oddie now on the retreat, finding the stun and just simply backing off. Hecarim is here, but Buggax, I think you just need to get back to the top lane and farm.
I guess that kind of answers our questions, however. Is Ruin strong enough that he's going to be able to deal with this Irelia? Well, they've dropped the Rift Herald. They're looking to break mid lane turret. And Ruin just exerting his will over Summoner's Rift right now.
And just incredible to watch how strong this Jayce has been. Now with the Herald, they're going to be able to break mid lane tower before the tower plating has fallen off. Huge amount of gold. Ruin even backing off to let other members on his team grab that to spread the advantage to the rest of the squad. Now they could move down to the ocean if they want to, but low mana bars. Isurus now seeing this as a potential opportunity to find something back in exchange. For now, though, the Herald has to be their focus. It'll be killed before it can find the second charge.
And you can see top lane that whole time was building. Buggax's creep wave is pushing against him, so Ruin's going to get a further advantage off that play because Buggax felt like he had to come down and support his team. Fight bottom lane.
Stun's going to connect, but input buffer there for Braum. He is able to get it out as the taunt does come through. Japone now on the backside. Oddie going to step forward. It's just barely going to land the slow. Arrow comes through. Warangelus sniping out another one. Wall coming in. Kirei on the way. Oddie potentially in trouble, though. Not going to find the knockback. Seismic Shove will not find purchase, so Oddie will be able to walk away. Hades has to be careful. Kirei here as well. Backing off, but the bot lane's so incredibly close. Oddie coming, looking to rinse and repeat. Kirei thinking that he has the advantage, but Oddie now on the way in. No ulti for Sejuani, chilling smite there, but Oddie just has to back off. So much attention on that bottom side from both sides.
Yeah, it certainly is, and I wonder when Fenerbahçe finally just go for the lane swap. You can see Jayce heading towards the mid portion of the map. I would like to see them just get Jayce into the bottom lane, try and open up that last turret, because you can see that Warangelus and Slow just continuing to build advantages for themselves. You know, that's a 2-0-1. Varus hasn't had access to the turret as much as would have liked, but has been able to be impactful in the lane. It still is only 2,000 gold, and I would say majority, if not all of that, still held on Ruin. So they need to be careful on how they swing the strong point of Fenerbahçe around the map. Isurus Gaming still certainly have tools in this game.
It will be difficult, however. As you mentioned before, Ruin was almost at 2 items. He's hit that point now. Spawn with the Black Cleaver with the Yomus. This is such a powerful Jayce, and now the free boots have come through as well, so no one can be left alone in a side lane, and most of these champions are not, if they ever go in, don't really have a good way to get out, so have to be very careful about playing up against Ruin, about letting him get anything done on the map. For now, he will return to the top side. It looks like they are going to try to find a pick. Japone potentially caught out here. Can leap back to Kirei, slow stepping forward, knock back to the team, but the taunt will not connect. A lot of damage there onto Oddie. Passive has now fallen out. If Fenerbahçe want to extend the trade, and Hades definitely does. Has to be careful. Ulti comes out from Seiya. Beautiful dodge to stop the engage, but that's the hook connecting. Varus now in a tough spot. A lot of immediate damage. Protobelt forward. Oh, just deleted. So much damage coming in from the AP Nautilus. Oddie now in trouble. They're trying to turn it back. Seiya has a lot of damage output, but not able to hit anything comfortably. Maxed range hook means Bolulu is going to grab yet another kill. Kirei firing home. No mana left there, but will stay around just for a bit more pressure. Hades, a bit cheeky to step forward, but unconcerned. And meanwhile, on the top side, Ruin is activating his stopwatch for no reason, but doesn't really matter because he's still going to run in and just smack him in the face. Oh, it's cyberbullying, Spawn.
That is a disaster. That is a swag stopwatch. Takes the turret, takes the kill. Ruin is taken over, and even worse for Isurus Gaming, they just lost the 4v4 with their strong members. This game has very quickly got out of hand. Now a 4,000 gold lead. And the swag stopwatch just caps it off for me because you can't feel good about any portion of this game now if you're Isurus.
We'll give him the benefit of the doubt. Swag, sure. Got him. Japone, good escape here. I was nervous when that seismic shove hit that the taunt might connect, but very slow, patient fight for Fenerbahçe, and you can see Isurus Gaming just aren't ready for a re-engage.
Yeah, and this was really nice out of Hades because if that ultimate lands, Seiya starts resetting. You know, the strength of this Nautilus certainly seen. That's a one hit. So able to get the full combo out. And it looked like they would be able to turn it back, but just no options here. Take another look at that stopwatch. Shows off his bling, and then still goes for it. Misses every ability as well, and then just whacks in.
Hammer form, baby. To the sky.
I love it.
Hit him with a thundering blow. And we've got a note from production. Buggax. Apologies to all the Latin American fans. Not Buggax, Buggax. We got it. We always do this at play-ins. We always miss one. We practiced Japone.
Yep.
We missed Buggax. We got him. Buggax getting blasted. Sorry.
Yeah, it feels even worse now. He stopwatched in front of you. The casters can't say my name correctly. I'm 040. This is a game that Buggax wants to forget real quickly, Drakos.
We have time. Plenty of games today. And of course, things getting scarier and scarier. Bolulu was getting picked on to a certain degree in the mid lane earlier on, but now that he has the Protobelt and a few more items under his belt as well, just seems to be getting stronger and stronger. We saw him basically 100-0 Warangelus in the last play, who's supposed to be one of the stronger members of the team. So now it feels like burden of execution is definitely on the side of Isurus to try to find some advantages, to try to get back into this game.
And I feel like somehow you have to get Seiya like towards the Trinity Force and then into Ruin's lane. Not gonna happen here though.
Has to back off. Didn't try to dash, but will dash right into the field. There's just too much damage there. Despite getting the wit's end, still
they want to continue this fight here.
Buggax running for his life. Hades will get locked out. Good opportunity. CC goes in, just immediately taken out. Buggax gonna grab a kill. Now the retreat. Warangelus gonna try to clear out the mid lane, but so many members of Fenerbahçe coming behind them. Massive shock blast is going to hit 3. Ruin fearless as he steps forward. Slow trying to find something, but there's the knockback. Looks like they will just pick off Slow. He will be the sacrificial Galio. Taken out as the rest of his team retreats. And Fenerbahçe, just now that the laning phase has been broken up, we wanted to see them convert their leads, and they absolutely have.
And just a class of Ruin there, you know, looks like he's chasing blindly, and we saw Mimic flash while he was asleep last game. A little bit of a difference in these top laners, just casually sidesteps out of any form of danger there, and will mean Slow falls down. Fenerbahçe look like they're dealing with the pressure of expectations of, you know, the Turkish league very well in this game so far. They have built themselves that 4,000 gold lead, and Seiya is kind of that shining ray of light, but at the same time, when they bring 4 people towards your lane and trap you in a corner, there's not all that much you can do.
This is one of the issues with the matchup between...
This is a bad play from Hades. I mean, you kind of hate to see it, like nice mechanical play, buffers, able to knock him back, but you cannot rotate that way when you know that they're trying to answer topside as well. This is what I was talking about from Ruin, just very casual sidestep to bait Slow into his death. So very nicely played from Fenerbahçe. Apart from the fact that Hades got caught there, you'd like to see him tidy that up, because against maybe someone like PvP, those little picks start to be a lot more impactful. Having a 0-5 bottom lane, even though you were up 4,000 gold, certainly not ideal.
And those little mistakes, of course, that a team like PvP will exploit, and something we have to track in the games to come. For now, very much on the back foot, will be a late game scaling threat, but currently, I think mostly on farm duty, may get 1 or 2 flashy plays with a rocket jump, but outside of that, not the guy that we expect to be the big difference maker in the game thus far. Infernal Drake being picked up for this team is pretty massive, pairing it with the Ocean that they already have, and you can see absolute control of the bottom side from Fenerbahçe.
Pretty value Infernal as well. When you look at down the line, that's going to be 4 members building damage stats coming into this game. You know, not a heavy focus on tanks. Still think there are answers for Isurus Gaming, however. They have got themselves a very good team fight. Seiya in some trouble now.
He's going to back off, not going to the knock up there. He's trying to sidestep as much. There's just too much. There's too much CC. There's too much damage spawn. Seiya does not have the flash, I believe, just a few seconds before it was off cooldown. Could not make it out of that scenario. And now Fenerbahçe set up to take this bottom tier 2. Warangelus can come in. Dash forward with the ulti, a good slow there. Bolulu has been caught out in the middle of the team, slowed now on the way in, but the ult just mistimed by Warangelus, and that kind of fumble was going to stop the play in its tracks. Almost the perfect timing, but a few milliseconds too early and not able to connect there with the Varus ult.
Because you could see Hades was actually going to stay and hit mid lane turret, so that would have been a genuine 3v3 if that CC was able to connect. But, little errors, pressure creeping into Isurus Gaming. Like, you throw that, if you're Warangelus, 100 times, you probably miss, 4 or 5 of them at this level. Stopwatch, very easy audio cue to be able to tell when people are coming out of it. But unfortunately, this is one of the fumbles that you do see, one of those unforced errors that costs your team even more. Which means they can't fight back in, a meaningful way, because that should have been a trade of kills there, which would have been able to stall this game out a little bit more effectively.
And it does feel like every time Seiya is sitting on a side lane in positions where he thinks he's going to be safe, Fenerbahçe is not afraid to burn the resources necessary to pick up that kill to stop Irelia from getting back into the game. And a lot of respect showed to Seiya across this game once he was able to find that lead in the mid lane. They've now pretty much never given him a chance to use it outside those first 2 kills.
Well, the really good thing about Bolulu is he just has very easy gank setup. If you are Kirei, he just presses R on him, and no matter where the Irelia dashes around, kind of sucks because he's dashing through pebbles and the ultimate is following him. At the same time, they've isolated Ruin into the Buggax matchup, which means it's just a 1v1. Ruin's not calling for any additional resources, and is 4 items versus 1, so doing fairly well. Pretty easy game to play if you're Ruin right now.
Fairly well. I like the soft commit there. He is absolutely dominating in the 1v1 matchup. Later we get, though, Hecarim, of course, going to scale quite nicely. Will threaten some of that backline.
I would say no matter how well you scale, you don't make up 3 item deficit.
Give him 20 minutes.
20?
Come on.
30? 5-ish?
Give him time. I won't commit to a number. It's definitely not right now, as you see massive trade in favor. For Buggax, it's difficult.
All right, it never gets better. I'm calling it right now.
You're calling it right now.
This
okay.
deficit stays the same.
I want to give him the benefit of the doubt. I want to believe that he will make it to that point. But we'll find out. For now, it feels like Fenerbahçe absolute control of the state of the map and just difficult game to play out. Although Bolulu may just be in trouble. Set up there. Oddie going to tank the tower. Now trying to find the reset. Seiya can wait on the ulti. Will get the timing right this time. No enforced error.
Very nice interrupt.
Dash out. Oddie, though, he's going to make it out of safety as well. So just a very clean tower dive overall, but it opens up the bottom side of the map for Ruin to exploit, and he could just look for this inhibitor tower. Buggax has to be careful. He can't overcommit, just has to commit enough to force Ruin off the tower.
And does play that balance very nicely there. Seiya has stuck around, however. Now Kirei looking for him.
Difficult.
I like that Oddie dipped.
He knows. They back away. That's a ton of respect.
They just thought Oddie was still there, I think. Because Seiya walked into the brush and acted as if his jungler was still around. I think that's one of the better bluffs I've seen, because if you dash forward as Seiya there, the pebbles just come out.
And you die.
And you die.
That is a very strong Taliyah right now. Kirei, level 13. Decent amount of Dark Harvest stacks, getting closer to the Hourglass, but also just a Void Staff right off the bat. Not concerned about the Wit's End. And this is one of those games where Seiya's like looking back at the patch where the magic damage reduction got removed from Irelia's W, and he's like, oh, please, Riot, please give it back. Sadly, no, my friend.
I think he needs a little bit more than that. I think that, once again, I really would like to see Seiya try and go for a pick onto Ruin, because I think he's currently the only person that does anywhere near enough damage to put him under serious threat.
It's so hard, though, because it's hard enough to find the resets, the stun. There's a QSS there already. You have to, you just have to outplay it mechanically, and that's a huge burden where you know that if you do fumble and if you do lose that 1v1, you're putting yourself even further behind.
Well, they've got Oddie as well as Buggax to be able to help out in that situation. I just think that, Ruin has gone top lane so many times that would have been able to be matched without threat of Baron picked up. It's very hard when he's pushing the bottom lane inhibitor, but I think that you can try and sacrifice, potentially the Infernal Dragon to look for that pick. Because unless they shut him down, unless they really do slow down this snowball that it has been going since the start of this game, I think it just becomes very difficult execution to be able to take out the latter this game goes.
Ruin in the mid lane, hovering above the Isurus Gaming lineup, forcing them to kind of pull back into their own jungle for safety. Infernal will be set in the sights of Fenerbahçe.
So this is a problem, right? If you don't go for that play whilst he is top lane, he just rotates down, no threat at all, and is able to get the Infernal, and there's not really all that much Isurus Gaming can gain in response. Half a creep wave top. Buggax already going to go back to base, so you know, understand that it is certainly a burden to put on your team, like trying to shut down the Fed member, but if you don't go for it, you're kind of restricting your own options. When you are this far behind, you have to take some risks.
Well, because now we're at the point where the global gold and the sheer weight of objectives is starting to bring Hades back to the game. It was an 0-3-0 Tristana, who now has a 200 gold bounty from the sheer amount of resources that have been pumped into him relative to the rest of the team. And, you know, on the way to 3 items, a huge break point for the champion. And he went from having that strength to no longer having it. Fumble on the ulti, and now the immediate turn. Seiya gonna try to turn it back. That's the double stun. Galio ulti coming in. A lot of damage goes down. Oddie immediately deleted. That's gonna be 3 hit by the Irelia ulti, but Seiya, it is not enough. Has to go through Pebbles. Cannot get any damage down. Hades now trying to take off. Backing off from Warangelus, giving him that bit of respect. But Bolulu does so much immediate damage. Flash forward, the taunt still going to connect, however. Warangelus, clean movement from this fight. Can't try to turn it. Kirei is going to get taken out. Oh, no. Once again, just a fumble on the timing, but Slow is there to back him up. Meanwhile, Ruin is breaking the inhibitor line, but Warangelus trying to find 1, trying to find 2.
So they will be able to turn it back around slightly, but as you mentioned, damage done. Ruin takes bottom lane inhibitor. Whilst all that is happening, you can see the impact that Kirei is having in these team fights. Just creating so much zone that Seiya can not go anywhere near. If Oddie's ultimate doesn't hit Kirei, it really does a lot to nullify Seiya's impact in this game.
And that's just a situation where we do see Warangelus put in a situation to succeed where he can come out on top in some of those skirmishes. Of course, at the end of the day, they still lose. They still lose that inhibitor. They were in, you know, a position where they should have won the fight, but lucky that Warangelus is so comfortable in those high-pressure late-game scenarios that they were able to claw something back from a situation that could have just turned into absolute disaster.
Yeah, but once again, you know, a small fumble coming from the AD carry of Isurus Gaming. Would have liked to see him, you know, nail that second Zhonya's timing, be able to pick up the kill a little bit more effortlessly. Slow had to grab that one. I believe it was a shutdown coming out and across. That would have been much needed gold going over to the Varus, who has got 3 items and is starting to scale into this game. But, you know, without a Baron, without, you know, a big team fight, it does seem that Isurus are going to be struggling, and Ruin now grouping with his team, letting that inhibitor do his job for him.
And now we get to judge Fenerbahçe. How cleanly can they close out with a lead like this? We've seen already what Phong Vu Buffalo can do. Now it's the test. Fenerbahçe, they have massive leads across many lanes. 6K lead, double Infernal Drake. Can they close as cleanly as we saw Phong Vu Buffalo? It's not as dominant of a lead, but this would be a good indicator for everyone out there trying to gauge relative strength of the teams in these groups.
See another invade coming in on this red buff.
Ulti is going to connect. Warangelus now trying to find a follow-up. Kirei still incredibly swishy, just immediately deleted. Now they're going to try to continue the fight. Seiya stepping forward, Ruin flashing over the wall. They won't commit for anything else. Does not want to risk it. And Ruin remains alive. 700 gold still available for anyone who will look for that shutdown.
But that is such a good news story because they're able to get the kill, and Buggax was just bottom, farming up the super creep wave. You know, eventually, with that pushing into him, if he collects the CS instead of letting them die to creeps, will get gold and will be able to get himself back into this game. Ruin now without the
level
flash
16,
available.
Level 14. No ulti available for Seiya.
Oddie is top side of the map, but they have vision of him.
Double sums, though. Is he backing observers? Is he backing right now? They're not. They're doing World Fleet 2.
Teleport coming in, actually. They want to fight for this one.
Wants to commit fully. Bolulu on the way in. 4 members coming up top side. Seiya going to be in trouble here. Gets the reset on the dash. Can now try to make it out to safety, but it's just too much upfront damage. Seiya still alive. Hades flashing forward, though. Wants the reset. Wants to leap right back into the safety of his team, and the fight continues in the favor of Fenerbahçe, but instantly Buggax into the back line. Tries to find the disruption, and Warangelus is untouched. The bars hitting home, but Bolulu finds the hook, connects it home, and Fenerbahçe going to try to find the win. Buggax barely not able to find it. The rampage is not there. That is the double kill for Ruin, and that is a massive fight for Fenerbahçe.
And it was so close, Drakos, but without Kirei in the 4v5, they are able to pick up the 4-0. They should be able to get Baron. You know, we said how they're going to go closing this game out. They actually say, you know what, to hell with the Baron. We're just looking for the end of the game.
They've used both their TPs, but massive wave here. Slow, the only one there to clear. 21 seconds to Warangelus, 13 to Seiya. It is a timer. Can they save themselves? Can they buy more time? But no, Slow immediately taken out. The CC follow-up is just too clean from the side of Fenerbahçe. They are now set to end this game, and Fenerbahçe coming through, finding the win here, and shutting down Isurus in the first match of the day.
And a really impressive performance coming out of Fenerbahçe because they had a clear area of strength and a clear area of weakness. And I think apart from one time that, you know, was Hades getting caught out in the transitional play, I think that they played around that very, very nicely. They allowed Ruin to do his job, and they attacked Seiya in that side lane with Kirei's Taliyah. I'm impressed. I think that was a really good performance.
Overall, incredibly clean. And we saw the members that we thought needed to show up really show up. Ruin especially. And for Buggax, has to look back on the performance and ask himself some hard questions. You know, was this the right choice for a matchup? Can we afford to let the Jayce go through next time we see these guys? A lot has to change for this team, but overall, at Fenerbahçe, now we have to wonder, can they actually contest toe-to-toe with PvB? Because I feel like we didn't learn a ton about PvP in that game versus the Bombers because they built such a huge lead so early on, whereas we did see Fenerbahçe tested, and they still came out on top.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think we saw kind of similarities, you know, the Jayce getting very far ahead in the side lane in both of those games. I think we saw, you know, a little bit of that bottom lane being a problem and kind of swinging back and forth, and, you know, then the jungler being able to help out in that situation. So I think that there is certainly parity you can call on between these two teams, but I would say that where PvB used like force and acceleration to win out of the game, you know, just consistently forcing plays, Fenerbahçe showed, you know, calmer minds and just pretty good slow play to be able to pick on the side lane and take down turrets as they needed, and kind of didn't close out in such a flashy style, but certainly was as impressive.
And the player of the game for this match will be Kirei. His Taliyah, of course, setting up so much of the early action just across the board. I think this guy has been kind of the catalyst for so many of the wins, while Ruin is the guy who often very much benefits from Kirei in the jungle. It is Kirei who sets up a lot.
Well, Ruin's job was easy, right? As I said, like, when you're 3 items up on Jayce and you're split pushing, like, most people can close out on those situations. Kirei's job was to shut down Seiya, the most fed member on this Isurus Gaming lineup, and you have to say that he performed his role pretty, like, flawlessly throughout that mid game. And I think that that's when you really do test the mettle. You know, a lot of people would have been able to play that lane into the Hecarim once that lead was generated, but the map smarts and the ability to pick out the lane was certainly impressive. And I think Bolulu also has to be credited with a couple of really good plays throughout some of these team fights as well. Certainly someone that, you know, I had questions of a rookie coming into an international stage playing against Seiya, and I think that was exploited at some times, but also had his own moments as well.
And the thing that I love is that we knew Bolulu was this guy who will be a utility mage player. He played, you know, Urgot, he played Sion, he was willing to play Lysandra, he was willing to play those tankier, utility-focused mids, and now we see another one that he can pick up, that he can use for the team, because when you have the dual carry threat on the top side of this Taliyah, of this Jayce, you want someone who can initiate, someone who can tank, and even with the Proto Belt, Aftershock was more than enough for that Nautilus to be that kind of figure.
Yeah, especially when you have a look at Japone and Hades down in that bottom lane, they're going to have to play, like, for matchup, I feel like. They're not going to be able to sacrifice their picks for comps, because we've seen it go on pretty badly here into Isurus Gaming's bottom lane. So I think the fact that they do have another member they can lean on for utility if they start picking on Kirei's champion pool. I mean, Kirei can still play things like the Sejuani, but I think it just gives them, you know, that extra part of pick band to be able to flex on.
All right, well, it's not going to be a lot of time for Isurus to prep. They need to get composed, focus up, use some of what they've learned from their best of fives previously, because coming up, Isurus Gaming returns to the stage, this time opposite Fong Vu